Hi, everybody. So this is the third free response prep question in Unit 2. This comes from a microeconomics exam from a long time ago, so and there's a little bit more to this question, but we're going to use it here to practice with. So it says, assume that bread and butter are complement goods. So that means, right, that there's something going to happen with demand involving one good and the price of the other. And then it says the government begins to subsidize the production of wheat, which is an input in the production of bread. So when we ever see input, we know that we're going to be talking about input costs, right? And input costs are going to be about the supply curve, right? So something is changing with supply there. For each of the following markets, draw a correctly labeled graph of supply and demand, show the effect of the subsidy on the quantity and price in the short run. So we're going to draw three graphs. And these lined pages, I know some students are like, oh, I hate drawing these graphs on lined paper. But on the AP tests, if you take them in person, they have lined paper. So I think it's useful to practice with it. Right? So we're going to get our P's and Q's, and we're going to do three supply and demand graphs. Now, in this problem, it didn't tell us to label the equilibrium values or anything. So, we could, and that might be helpful because it actually tells us here to show the effect on the price and quantity. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and say, in order for you to do this right, you need to have these markings, because otherwise you can't really show the effect, right? If you don't show the beginning points. So sometimes you have to read between the lines a little bit on these questions. All right, now we're going to say wheat. So we have to label them because otherwise their grader isn't going to know which one is which, right? You could also use 1, 2, and 3. Wheat, bread, and butter. Okay. Now that we've drawn our graphs, it says there's a subsidy on, what was it, on wheat. So subsidizing the production of wheat. And so if there's a subsidy, we know that it's going to reduce the cost of producing that. And so there's a direct change to the wheat market, and it's a shift to the right, or a vertical shift down in the amount of the subsidy is the other way to think about it. So we know here we see the price of wheat falls, right? So we're showing the effect. And so we've shown the effect here, and the quantity of wheat rises. So we've done that. Now it tells us that wheat is an input in the production of bread, right? Remember that. So what happens when the input cost of something like wheat went down? So that means input costs to make bread have gone down. So that actually should increase the supply of bread. And that causes a quantity to increase and the price of bread to go down. Now, at the very beginning, it also told us bread and butter are complement goods. Now, think back to Unit 1 where we learned about the shifters of demand. And we said that if you've got two products and they're complements and the price of one goes down, then people are going to buy more of the other thing as well because they're used together. So we would see the demand for the other thing go up. And so in this case, right, the price of bread has fallen and people would like to put butter on their bread. So we're going to increase the demand for butter. And so we should see the price of butter rise as a result and the quantity of butter increase. Okay, so that's the answer to part A. That's the answer to part A. So let's tackle part B. And B says, if the demand for bread is price elastic, how will total revenues change as a result of the government subsidy? Now, this is just the total revenue test, right? So we remember that total revenue is one arm. I think I always do it with this arm. And price is the other arm. And so we're actually saying here for bread, right, what happened to bread prices? Well, prices of bread went down, right? Price of bread went down. And the demand for bread, it says, is elastic. So our arms are going to be stretching two different directions. And so that means total revenue is going to be going up. And how do we know bread was going down in price? Well, we graphed it right here. It's actually in our answer. We just look for here and we say, oh, look, bread went down in price. So bread total revenue should go up. Now, if we were asked for an explanation, we could say, because bread price went down and it's elastic. That's all we'd have to write. All right, so hopefully this helps you. See you next time.